Hello there, and welcome to my channel. I got a little storytime video for you of sorts today. You see, recently I was sorting through my many t-shirts here, and I was thinking about all of the stories that they hold for me. And then I thought, that is a video idea, and I need to upload something new to my channel. So today, I'm going to pick out 5 t-shirts from this closet here and share with you some of the stories attached to them, otherwise known as excuses as to why I just can't let go of some t-shirts. Trust me, I used to possess a lot more t-shirts than what you see here, and it feels like every time I get organized, I realize there's some I just cannot let go. But also, every time I get organized, sometimes I find little surprises and things I forget about. Let me show you an example. So I try to get organized and I find things like this. Recently, I remembered I had this when I moved a few years ago. Do you know what this is? If you guessed that that is a whole suitcase full of band merchandise, t-shirts to be sold at concerts, you guessed correctly. Why do I have them? I'm not sure anymore. I digress. Right, back to the task at hand, which is me picking out 5 t-shirts here and sharing you the story attached to them. So, since this is a sort of story time video as well as 5 things are involved, I'll be adding it to both of those playlists here on my channel. If you're new here, you may want to check out those playlists because it's where I try to sort out the variety of topics that I talk about here on my channel. Everything from my time being a roadie to a stupid brain tumor that I had in my head. So if that's something that you're into, check those playlists out and consider subscribing. Join us. And I highly recommend that you watch to the end of this video because personally, I think that number 5, it's heart-touching, but it's also slightly indecent, just like Armstrong here. Let's get into it. I think we should start where it all began for me, my love of t-shirts, and the fact that my love of t-shirts is possibly genetically inherited. So I think for t-shirt number 1, it just makes sense that I share something from my mother. You see, my mother, she had a strange sense of humor. Eat me at Fuddruckers. You see, as a child and on into my teen years, I was often highly embarrassed of her t-shirts that I would call corny and embarrassing. My mother loved going to things like flea markets and yard sales, and she would seek out silly t-shirts. And while I can admit now that she did indeed find some special finds, as a child I would cringe because they were just not cool, and I was trying hard to be cool. But as I grew older and realized I would never be cool, I began to appreciate her style more. And after my mother passed, the t-shirts, they definitely hold some sentimental value. They're all kind of like a real thin cotton 80s style, very comfortable, great for sleeping in or just lounging around the house. I'll share with you one bonus classic. This one I wore on my 40th birthday to honor my mother. I just happened to remember that she wore this one of her 30th birthdays. I say one of her 30th birthdays because pretty much every birthday I remember she had, she was turning 30. Next t-shirt. Alright, this is a nice one. This is from the last tour that I went on with the Bloodhound Gang as their merch girl. Ah, yes, the good old days when I sold t-shirts. This particular tour, well, it was short, it was sweet. Oh, we went to some really nice places like Bulgaria and the Ukraine, and, well, it ended in an international incident. Like, I'm saying an international incident. Violence, U.S. president contacted, Putin was involved. But before all of that, it was a pretty cool little tour, as I remember. Started off in Sofia, Bulgaria. It was my first time in Bulgaria. Loved it. Great thrash band that we played with there called Piranha. Shout out to Skinny J and his crew. A lot of really cool people in Sofia, Bulgaria. And a little travel tip, eat the cheese. They have good cheese in Bulgaria. Who knew? I didn't. Let's see, then we got Munich. I remember that was a festival, typical Munich festival. Berlin, Germany. I remember that was a festival as well. Pretty sure these were all festival gigs, if I recall. Lichten for the Netherlands. Oh, I remember that. That was the Zwarte Cross Festival. Never forget that festival. Oh man. You see, I gotta back up. I remember when we were in Berlin, I was like reunited with a lot of Bloodhound Gang fans that I had known through the years from selling them T-shirts, and because also I'm a fan. We get along, we have things in common. And I was able to reunite with some of those friends when we were in Berlin. And I saw that a few times because there was like a big gap since the last time this band toured. And so I recall a lot of people coming out and having a really nice time up until I hit this farmer festival in the Netherlands. Pretty sure I complained about it in another video, and I could make a whole video on that day, but we're not doing that today. Today, moving on, I then went to Kiev. I went to Kiev, and then I went to Odessa, and that was amazing. Makes me really sad to think about what is going on in Ukraine right now. I send my thoughts, some hope, and a whole lot of strength to anybody that has the unfortunate circumstance of living in an area where war is going on. But when we were in the Ukraine, there was no sign of war that I was aware of. You see, I was even in Odessa at this time. And I recall meeting amazing people, seeing beautiful venues, unbelievable hotels, churches, that looked like they were made of gold. But of course, what sticks with me were the people. A lot of really good people. And this little band here that I was working for, well, as I already mentioned, there was an international incident. But if I'm completely honest with you, the shenanigans that were going on that stage that night were really no different than any other night I had ever worked for them. Nonetheless, the bassist pissed off Putin, international incident ensued, and oh my God, it's a long story in and of itself. I didn't go with them to Russia. I went home. I went home and was ready to detox and sleep for a few days and was awoken by phone and Skype, and this could again be a video in and of itself. So if you want to hear my side, my point of view of that story and that incident, let me know down below in a comment. Moving on to the next t-shirt. Alright, I think the next one is going to be a little peek at my childhood and a weird urban legend from the area that I'm from in Pennsylvania. See, I'm from Pennsylvania, but I grew up on the river, right across the river from New Jersey. New Jersey is a weird place. Have you ever heard of the Jersey Devil? Well, I have a cousin that works down there, and she works pretty hard with a bunch of other folks at protecting the Pinelands of New Jersey. She knew that I was a fan of the whole urban legend of the Jersey Devil. It's a story, quite honestly, where I grew up that everybody knows. We all know about the Jersey Devil. And by my teen years, I went out hunting him. Like I'm telling you, we would go drive to Jersey, go drive down to these beautiful forests, the Pinelands down there, and we would go looking for the Jersey Devil. It was said that when he was born, he was the 13th child, and that he was the devil himself, born with cloven hooves. Many of us that have tried to go hunt him swear that we've gotten close, because you do hear and see spooky, spooky things there in Jersey, in the Pinelands. And in Jersey in general. Jersey can be weird. I'll put some links down below in case you're into urban legends. Next t-shirt. I think for the next t-shirt, we should go for a festival t-shirt. I worked at a lot of festivals, and some of them do cool t-shirts, some of them do really obnoxious ones. This one has a thick print on it. Els Rock, 2009. Please do excuse all of the cat hair on my t-shirts. You see, cat hair is my favorite color. But yeah, what I recall at this festival, I think it was put on by one of my favorite Dutch promoters, concert organizers, Big G. Shout out to you if you happen to see this. And if my memory serves me correctly, I think it was in like a small town. This wasn't Amsterdam. This wasn't some big city. Ryson comes to my mind. It was a small place, and I remember that the festival was like right in the middle of this quaint little town, you know. Church over there, little cobblestone roads. I remember building my merch booth up in front of a restaurant. And the stage was over there. And I remember all of the bands that day They were good. I remember having a good time. It was a great atmosphere. I remember it being a really cool mixture of like metal, but a little touch of like thrash and a little bit of old school hardcore. I remember the streets were packed for this outdoor festival, and I remember the alcohol was flowing freely, and the Dutch customers they were treating me generally great. Generally, Dutch people at concerts are my favorite kind of Dutch people. Except for that one time at that Zwarte Cross festival. But on this day, I remember really having a really good time. And I also remember that it was one of the first times that something that for me personally was really cool happened. And that was the singer of the band I was working for, Mucky Pup, called me from the stage to run through the crowd and climb like a monkey up onto the stage so that I could accompany them in a song and I could play the washboard. Ended up doing a bunch of tours with Mucky Pup. Ended up on stage a few times playing the washboard. Never was I warned ahead of time, and I loved it every time. So yeah, really good memories. Let's move on to the next t-shirt. This next t-shirt could definitely be labeled as offensive and obscene by pretty much anybody. And while you can find pictures of the Mucky Pup Batman shirt online, it does not mean that I should share that same picture here on my YouTube channel, because I need to keep the monetization, because one day I want to open up my own shop. I digress. Getting off track again. This t-shirt here holds some very, very sentimental value. You see, I know some of you that have been watching my videos, you know that I used to sell the merchandise for this band, Mucky Pup, when they would come and tour here in Europe. But the story attached to this t-shirt goes all the way back to my teen years. I think I was probably about 15, 16 when Mucky Pup was touring, doing gigs in kind of my area, in the New York, New Jersey, sometimes Pennsylvania area. But I always remember hearing about them and they were in New York or New Jersey. And I was always unable to go because I was either in trouble and grounded, or my friends didn't trust the shady friends in their shady car or the shady big city that we would be going to. My sort of overprotective parents were having a really hard time accepting my newfound love of being punk and into hardcore music, and my desire to hang out with other punks and hardcore music and large men covered in tattoos. So I remember being really upset that I couldn't go to the concerts. I was uncool. All my friends got to go and see this funny band, Mucky Pup, live. Not me. But I had a boyfriend who did. And I did as many girlfriends do. I borrowed the shirt and then I kind of held on to this shirt. But then my mother saw the shirt. She was horrified. She was pissed off. I got punished. She took the shirt from me, and I was never to see it or wear it again. That is, until my father died, and I found myself back home in their bedroom, sorting through all of their clothing. You see, my mother had passed 3 years before I lost my father. So there I am, sorting through the clothes, and I find in this drawer, which I think it had pantyhose, I find like a sort of a brown paper bag that clearly has something in it, and it's perfectly neatly folded. And if I'm dead honest with you folks, I was really nervous at that moment at what I was going to find in this mysterious brown paper bag in a pantyhose drawer. I feared the worst, and I cautiously opened it, fearing and hoping that I was not about to find out what my mother's pornography preference was. But nope, that's not what it was. What I found there that day in that brown paper bag, that pantyhose drawer of my deceased mother, was the very t-shirt that she took from me, my ex-boyfriend's t-shirt from when I was like 15 years old. And I'm telling you, I sat there and I went back and forth between laughing and crying as I sat there amongst my dead mother's clothes. But the little punk rock teenager inside of me decided instead to speak out loud to my ghost mother. The little punk rock teenager that lives inside of me basically shouted out to my ghost mother, "In your face!" Ha! I won this one. I not only got this t-shirt back, Mom, I worked for this band. I went to tons of concerts. Remember those concerts you forbid me from going to? I got it all back. And I laughed, and I cried, and I went back and forth between laughing and crying. Not just for that day, but for several days. But trust me, if you knew my mother, I'm sure that my ghost mom, she had a good laugh too. Well, I think that's been enough oversharing for today, but I would love to hear from you. What is your favorite and oldest t-shirt still in your possession? Let me know down below in a comment. What do you got in your closet that you just can't get rid of? I feel like almost every friend of mine has that t-shirt that they just can't let go of. And if you want to hear more of my little t-shirt stories, click like, let me know. I got plenty more to share back here. I do appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And don't forget, if you want to support this channel, you can click that join button down below. And you can become a beloved member and support this channel for as low as $1.99 a month. Dang. I really do hope to be coming at you again very soonish with another video. But until that happens, until we meet again, I do hope that you're over there taking care of yourself. Oh, hey, and maybe consider watching another video of mine and checking out a playlist or something like that. Do it. Do it. Do it.